Hi everyone, I'm Muhkti Perumal, so I'm the lead for the early diagnosis of liver cancer programme at NHS England. And essentially I just wanted to kind of, set out the NHS's commitment around liver cancer, and in particular hepatocellular carcinoma, and then also just tell you a little bit about the current programme we have and the kind of deliverables that are running alongside that, and then the kind of continued infrastructure that we're looking to build through the programme. So I think it's been mentioned quite a lot already, but the NHS has committed to diagnosing 75% of more cancers at stage 1 or 2 by 2028, and that includes all cancers. I guess, we've talked quite a lot around kind of survival rates and kind of the health and quality element around this, and that is all particularly relevant for this programme as well. And so, it's addressing quite a lot of the long-term plan ambitions. And I guess when we started thinking about from an NHS England point of view, and particularly from a cancer point of view, how we were going to reach this ambition, we've started to, over the last few years, look at the kind of really big cancers and looking at the kind of infrastructure that needed to be built there to diagnose more cancers earlier. And now we've got to the point of looking at kind of smaller cancers, and again, what improvements can be, made in this space now. And that is why there's been a strong focus around HCC from NHS England. I guess, I don't want to get into kind of politics too much, but the three kind of main political parties have committed to continue the investment around cancer for the next, in particular for the next general election. And I think, we're very kind of in a very strong position, I think, to continue the resourcing that has been put in place already for the last 2 years. I guess we don't know what level of resourcing that will be in the next, from the next general election, but we know it is at the level that we would hope to maintain the work that we've already started, and we're working very hard to make sure that is, that continues to happen. I think the other area to kind of mention where we have some strong commitment this year is through the National Operational Planning Guidance that was released just a few weeks ago now, and in that there is very clearly, you can pull out kind of a line around HCC surveillance, and I think that means all ICBs around the country, so this is just in England, have to provide a plan to NHS England around how they're going to either set up or continue to support HCC surveillance within their kind of patches. So, I think while we're looking to kind of introduce some infrastructure through the programme, and I'll talk a little bit about some of that, we also then need to think about, our ICBs also equipped to continue the support once, we pull from the work that we've been kind of supporting across. So I think while it's kind of setting up new stuff, it's also the sustained kind of resourcing around this as well. So the actual programme itself, so what have been the kind of deliverables that come alongside this? I guess ultimately, like I've alluded to, it's diagnosing more HCCs earlier, and from that it is identifying people that are suitable for surveillance, enrolling them in these programmes, and I think we've already talked about kind of the resource implications of this, so being really clear about who needs surveillance and how we then provide kind of support to help people attend. And then the last is really then around kind of what actual resourcing is needed to provide quality services for patients that are undergoing HCC surveillance. So these are the three areas we've started with over the last couple of years. So the programme is very new when we talk about it from an NHS perspective. 2 years is not long at all. And I guess the kind of most developed area is this first point, which is around identifying people with advanced fibrosis and cirrhosis in the community. And that's being done through the community liver health checks pilots. I won't go into that too much because we're going to be talking about it later. But that has been partnering with the National Hepatitis C Elimination Programme and their operational delivery networks. So it's expanding on the work to find and treat people with hepatitis C and ensure that it's kind of more focused around kind of people just more generally around liver health. And so we'll kind of go into that a bit more later. The second area is identifying people in primary care who have either had abnormal liver function tests that haven't gone anywhere, or people that should have been offered liver health tests, and they haven't, essentially. I think so this work is very much, it's very new, very in pilot phase. What we're trying to understand from this is, what is that need in primary care? And if there is a need, then what sorts of kind of robust pathways do we need in primary care to ensure these people are kind of, they go through the proper kind of testing so that we're not flooding secondary care with people that aren't suitable for surveillance or aren't at higher risk. And then the last area is around surveillance itself. I guess this is the main arm in which kind of cancer alliances are delivering through. So for the last couple of years, kind of £6 million of funding have been provided to cancer alliances. This is being increased next year to £8 million of funding, or this new financial year. And so, there is a significant investment now from NHS England around how do we support kind of HCC surveillance kind of infrastructure, and that's being kind of that resourcing now can be used around kind of core recall systems, thinking about how you kind of track and monitor patients through surveillance, any kind of additional resourcing that might be required, such as kind of pathway navigators, peer support workers, kind of nursing staff as well. And also thinking about starting to understand the kind of implications on kind of imaging capacity, but also on hepatology and gastroenterology kind of support as well. So I think there's quite a lot of work in this space that is being kind of predominantly led by cancer alliances, but there is also a national perspective around improving kind of HCC surveillance. Some of that we've started in the last year, which is kind of developing some kind of standards around HCC surveillance, who's suitable, how we, what are the kind of basic things that we should have in place to support patients, and then thinking about kind of any additional kind of support that imaging teams would need. And again, we're going to kind of talk about that a bit more later. And then we'll talk a little bit more around kind of a registry side of it a bit later as well. But these are kind of the three areas that we've started with in the programme, and we hope to kind of continue over the next year in particular. And I think more than anything, what I really hope, and I really do understand that lots of your perspective is not just cancer, and obviously this has just come from a cancer perspective, but what I hope it is a real opportunity to really improve not just surveillance pathways, but generally kind of how we improve liver health as well for many patients as well. Thank you.